Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that's both abstract and incredibly fascinating, the arrow of time. Did you know that everything from the increase of entropy in the universe to the logic behind language models is connected to the concept of time? In this video, we'll explore the deep structure behind the transformer model, why it's similar to a Fourier transform, and how it helps AI understand human language. Let's begin with a deceptively simple sentence. Time is what prevents everything from happening at once. This quote comes from physicist John Archibald Wheeler. It may sound like a philosophical joke, but there's a hidden brilliance to it. Imagine a world with no flow of time, where past, present, and future all collapse into the same moment. Cooking and showering happen simultaneously. Birth and death overlap. You speak, and the sound arrives before your lips move. In such a world, logic, language, memory, even consciousness would be impossible. So why does time have a direction? This is one of the classic questions in physics. One of the most widely accepted answers is entropy increases. Entropy, simply put, is a measure of disorder. The second law of thermodynamics tells us that in a closed system, entropy will always increase, meaning things naturally become more disordered over time. When you boil a pot of water, the molecules scatter into steam. But steam spontaneously condensing back into perfectly arranged water in the kettle? That just doesn't happen. Or think of a dropped egg. It will never reassemble itself on the table. It's not about energy, but about probability. The chances of disorder reversing into perfect order are virtually zero. That's the irreversibility of entropy. And it's what we call the arrow of time. Actually, language is also time-driven. But what does all this have to do with language, AI, or transformers? Language is a time-based structure. You can't say an entire sentence all at once. You can only speak it word by word. You don't send a whole letter telepathically. You can only write it line by line. This sequential structure is what makes language temporal. And our brains are wired to understand language in the order it's delivered. For example, if you say, "I ate the apple," people understand you completed an action. But if you say, "Apple the ate I," it sounds like your speech assistant glitched. Time structure in language can't be scrambled. Once the order breaks down, meaning and logic collapse. Now let's meet our main character, Transformer. So, what is a transformer? It's the most powerful and widely used architecture in today's language models. Whether it's ChatGPT, Bard, Claude, or Gemini, they're all based on transformer technology. At its core, the transformer handles time sequences, using something called an attention mechanism to understand context and predict the next word. For example, if you input "this morning I drank," the model will likely predict coffee, soy milk, or milk, and not airplane or dinosaur. This kind of prediction is essentially simulating our human sense of time and language. Interestingly, the word transformer can also be understood through an engineering lens. You can think of it as a kind of linguistic Fourier transform. Fourier transform, FT, is a mathematical tool that converts signals from the time domain into the frequency domain. It's widely used in audio processing, image analysis, and radio signals. In a similar way, the transformer turns messy language sequences into abstract logic and meaning, then reconstructs them into structured sentences. It's like a language factory, turning raw speech streams into structured streams of meaning. Let's look at a small case. Even food robots must understand time. When you're using a voice ordering food robot, you say, 1 bubble milk tea, less ice, half sugar. If the model mixes up the order and hears it as half sugar, less ice, 1 milk tea, it still kind of works. But if it scrambles it into less sugar, half bubble ice, I want tea milk, well, that's just awkward and probably confusing for the kitchen too. This is why transformers must respect the logic of word order, or they'll fail to understand what we're saying. Even though transformers are impressive, they're far from perfect and still face challenges. 1. Memory problems with long texts. Once sequences get too long, models tend to forget what came before. 2. Difficulty with logical jumps. Tasks involving deep, multi-step reasoning, like mathematical proofs, often trips them up. 3. Inconsistent common sense. Sometimes the model sounds convincing, but when you look closely, the logic falls apart. Many of these issues stem from the model's incomplete grasp of temporal understanding. Here comes the deeper question. Can AI ever truly understand time? It's like asking, if a robot plays the piano, does it truly hear the music? AI can simulate us, but does it actually perceive the flow of time? Does it understand that the future hasn't arrived and the past is gone? So far, AI models are just statistical predictors of what comes next. They don't live in time. They don't anticipate, remember, or regret like humans do. It's a philosophical and engineering puzzle all in one. Interestingly, neuroscience suggests that when humans recall stories or conversations, our brains subconsciously focus attention on keywords and moments. This is neural mechanisms of time and human memory. This is strikingly similar to the attention weights used in transformers. In a way, transformers weren't born out of nowhere. They're inspired by how the human brain constructs meaning across time. From the thermodynamic arrow of time, to the sequential structure of language, to the way AI models process and generate text, we're all trying to answer the same fundamental question about language, time, and intelligence. What is the structure of time? And how do we create logic and meaning within it? The transformer is just the beginning. In the future, we may build AI that understands narrative flow, remembers past mistakes, and even prepares for future events. When that day comes, maybe we'll say, AI has finally learned the language of time. So what do you think about the arrow of time? Do you believe transformers can ever truly understand human beings? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoy this kind of content that blends science, engineering, and philosophy, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. We'll see you in the next video.